I'm pissed off. What is it that has you so angry?
Mom! Hey, Juicy Smollett. Read it and weep, buddy. Read 'em and weep. So I'm sure that by now everyone's heard of the hate crime of the century that was committed against Jussie Smollett, actor from such hit shows such as Empire and Framework.
Gave it all for the framework. Let's get it. We're finished.
The CCTV footage has finally been released of the incident. It's pretty crazy stuff. Oh, it's those mean streets of Chicago, 2019.
That's mighty kind of you boys, but I don't think nothing's gonna save me now.
This here's MAGA country. Now, obviously that wasn't the footage, because there is no footage. That was just a funny jab at the idea that Chicago is full of KKK. Wait a minute, that last one wasn't funny. The last one was a real guy really getting his ass kicked by police, and it may have been racially motivated. Racially motivated crimes are just like normal crimes, except a little bit more gross. Like, killing someone because you're angry is terrible, but killing someone just to hear them scream is like, ew, what the fuck is wrong with you? Hate crimes shouldn't be punished more, but they say something very dark about our society. What kind of sick piece of shit would fake that for fame?
It's like, you know, at first it was a thing of like, listen, if I tell the truth, then that's it, because it's the truth. Then it became a thing of like, oh, how can you doubt that? Like, how do you not believe that? It's the truth. And then it became a thing of like, oh, it's not necessarily that you don't believe that this is the truth. You don't even want to see the truth.
Now, I know that I'm pretty late on this story, but there's a reason that I still want to make a video about it. We can't let this type of stuff get swept under the rug. If we forget about this story anytime soon, somebody else will simply do it again, except make sure their story is more believable next time. Let us never forget Juicy Schmooly and his bullshit, lest someone actually get away with it next time. Until we can meme his name as a term for a hoax, we all have a slight obligation to keep talking shit. So I'm sure you've all heard it, but for those of you who haven't, here's what he claimed. 2 a.m. went out to get Subway in Chicago in the winter. 20 below. Everyone laughs at this part, but I mean, if I could get Subway at 2 a.m., I probably might. So I mean, that part seems pretty reasonable. But then the story really begins. Two ski mask wearing, red MAGA hat wearing assailants armed with a rope and a bottle of bleach recognized the actor from Empire that allegedly proceeded to beat him up while yelling racial and homosexual slurs. He got away with, like, this scratch, and he went home to eat a sandwich that he managed to hold on to until police arrived and he made his report. Still wearing the rope. This is a story on the level of Last Jedi bullshit. Here's why. In order for a story to make sense, the premise must make sense. God damn it, I keep saying that. In order for a story to make sense, the premise must make sense. If I told you that I was attacked by ninjas, you'd be like, shut the fuck up, that never happened. But if I told you that I was at a Naruto convention and I got into a drunken argument with a group of cosplayers, then said I got attacked by ninjas, you'd be like, oh, that's a pretty nuts story. But you'd believe it because the premise makes sense. Let's look at the premise of this story and see if it makes any sense at all. Two guys decide to leave the house at 2 a.m., 20 below, in Chicago with ski masks, a bottle of bleach, and rope. Why? To attack someone if they happen to run across someone they don't like. Why would anyone think that a thin piece of rope and a bottle of bleach are effective weapons? No clubs or knives or, actual weapons? Why? Because bleach makes things white and rope is associated with hanging, which is associated with lynching, and it works into a racist angle? Are we to believe that the attackers would not bring weapons on their midnight ass-kicking raid, but instead bring symbolic items? I've never seen Empire, but Jussie Schmooly must be a better actor than a writer because this load of horseshit smells worse than what I produce, and my shit is black enough to be one of the real assailants. Afterwards, he gets home with this much damage. Dude, I've gotten into my fair share of fights. You can see the deviated septum. I've accidentally hit myself in the face with things and gotten way more damage than that. What are you, fucking Colossus? You're telling me that you got jumped by two guys and this is how much damage you got? You're Bruce Willis and Unbreakable, or you're entirely full of shit and couldn't take a real ass beating from your hired assailants and thought you'd get away with this shaving mistake. I don't believe it, dude. You're not Bruce Willis, Invincible Superman. You're M. Night Shyamalan, 10 pounds of shit, except with a twist, it's in a 5-pound bag. Now, I'm sure as everyone has heard by now, he's been implicated in a hoax. Long story short, he was asked to give his phone records. He instead made a spreadsheet of call logs, but with a twist. He deleted certain calls. Detectives saw this instantly, and they could also check with the company, so they just checked the ones he deleted. It turns out throughout the investigation, it's been discovered that Juicy Schmooly paid 2 of his friends who were Nigerian actors from his show to stage the entire attack. You just can't make this shit up. Well, I mean, I guess you can. You just might go to jail for it. And just the other day, Juicy was arrested for this. Good goddamn riddance. Now I'm one of the last people to talk about my faith in a government bureau. But you know what? If you try to fake something, you know what FBI stands for? Fines bullshit instantly. Now, it annoys me that this asshole did this because it illegitimizes the future claims of this type that are made. He tried to use something that is legitimately awful that does happen in the world and try to make some money off it by staging himself as a victim of it. This is a slap in the face to anyone who's ever experienced racially or sexuality related abuse. To all the people defending him as a black person and a homosexual person, he sold you the fuck out. He sold out your real pain to get himself a check. Now this is bad for the black and the homosexual community because it makes real claims less credible. It requires more vetting for investigation now because somebody wasted $500,000 with a fake claim that was taken at face value. This means that future claims are going to be getting a larger grain of salt, making them take longer to be investigated. Thanks, Juicy! You just decreased the investigative diligence of all black and homosexual victims for the next few years because of your dumb little ploy. I hope no criminals get away with their crimes now because now the system has to double check claims of attacks because the system got once by an opportunist hack actor who couldn't write his way out of a paper bag because I have dreams that are more plausible than his story. Fuck you, Juicy Schmooly. Prison is for dangerous to society and people who need a punitive punishment. That's why there are tiers of prisons. There are high tiers for dangerous people that you actually need to remove from society. And then there are low tiers like Club Fed for just people who need to be slapped on the wrist. Now I don't like this guy, and I think that he did a very dangerous and terrible thing. But I don't think that his intent was to cause harm. I think he just wanted to make a buck. Jussie Smollett, Juicy Schmooly, isn't a dangerous person. He's just a piece of shit. And he's incredibly stupid and did something that could potentially cause harm in the future. So it was reckless, it wasn't necessarily malicious. I think you give him 3 to 6 months Club Fed. And a huge fine. Just to remind him, you do this shit again, ooh, you're going in for 3 years. Read it, buddy, and you get all that Empire money back. Because you don't get to do something like this and make some money off of it. So the punishment should fit the intent. And the intent was to make money, not to cause harm. He doesn't need to go rot away in a jail of monsters where he's just going to be abused. He needs to pay up what he tried to take and then more. Maybe with a little Club Fed just to remind him and everyone else, if you try this shit, there would be more than a monetary punishment. What would stop people who have lots of money from doing this all the time if it were only a fine? The answer is a few months in a minimum security prison with a giant ass bill. And also, you know, the whole, like, destroyed career thing. That's the punishment he deserves. Screw you, Juicy Schmooly. I hope to God you aren't ever the actual victim of a hate crime in the future. Because now you are the boy who cried wolf. And we all know what happened to the boy who cried wolf. When the real wolf attacked, no one believed him and all the sheep died. In this case, the sheep are victims of hate crimes, which you could still be one day. And even if it isn't you, if anyone else experienced a roadblock because of what you've done, that's your fault now. No one believes a liar, even when he's telling the truth. And I'm going to end this video with something that will probably give you some insight to the mind of this person. How blatantly they are willing to lie to promote themselves. How blatantly he assumes the role of victim and attempts to stand in solidarity with people that he knows he hasn't had the same experience as. How fake as fuck this guy is. If you can still respect this person after watching this clip, then there might be something wrong with you as well. Keep in mind that this wasn't an accident or a mistake. This was 100% blatant lying. He knows this entire time he's lying. He knows this entire time that this wasn't an attack on himself. He had 2 friends paid to orchestrate a scheme that wasn't even written very well. Rope and bleach at 2 a.m. at 20 below, fuck you. If you're black or homosexual, let me know in the comments how it feels watching him speak the way he does while he's knowingly lying. I'm white and straight and it pisses me off, so I can only imagine how some of you feel. Especially if you were a victim of something similar and you didn't get this kind of support from the entire fucking news media and this guy gets it, who made it all up.
I'm pissed off. Listen, if I tell the truth, that's it, because it's the truth. How can you doubt that? Like, how do you not believe that? It's the truth. It's not necessarily that you don't believe that this is the truth. You don't even want to see the truth. empire. So I turned around and I said, did you just say to me? And I see the attacker. He said, this MAGA country punches me right in the face. So I punched his ass back. And they ran off. And then I looked down and I see that there's a rope around my neck, which I hadn't.
You hadn't noticed it before?
No, because it was so fast. You know what I'm saying? It was so fast.
The police have gone through a lot of video, and they were able to capture an image of two people of interest. Have you seen that image, and do you believe that they could possibly be the attackers?
I do.
What is it about their size, or why do you feel that they could possibly be?
Because I was there. For me, when that was released, I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere. I don't have any doubt in my mind that that's them. Never did. We live in a society where, as a gay man, you are considered somehow to be weak. And I'm not weak. I am not weak. And we, as a people, are not weak. It feels like if I had said it was a Muslim or a Mexican or someone black, I feel like the doubters would have supported me a lot much more, a lot more. And that says a lot about the place that we are in our country right now. The fact that we have these fear mongers, these people that are trying to separate us, and it's just not okay. It's just not okay. And for all of the people, the next time that you see someone report something, maybe well after the fact that it happened, and you say to them, well, why you wait until now? Just remember that mine was reported right away. And it's offensive. Offensive. And I absolutely resent that narrative, because it's bull. It's bull. And it's unfair. It's unfair to the investigation. It's unfair to, I hate this word, but it's unfair to the victim. I mean, who says empire, this MAGA country, ties a noose around your neck and pours bleach on you? And this is just a friendly fight. I will never be the man that this did not happen to. I am forever changed. And I don't subscribe to the idea that everything happens for a reason, but I do subscribe to the idea that we have the right and the responsibility to make something meaningful out of the things that happen to us, good and bad. I think that what people need to hear is just the truth. There was no address, but the return address said in big red, like caps, MAGA. Did I make that up too?
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Peace out, bow.